Hey guys, I'm Karan Binani from MobiScrub, and this video is focused on talking about how you can personalize the Galaxy S8 and to what extent you can without downloading anything out of the phone. So let's get right into it. One of my favorite customization is the personalization of the always-on display. The always-on display is probably the most visible part, and hence its customization is a fairly important one. So let's get started with what we can do over here. Go into Settings, Lock Screen Security, and select Always-on Display. You can firstly choose what information to display on the always-on screen, a digital or an analog clock, a calendar, an image, or just the edge panel to show the time and the date. Each of these further have more customization possible, for example the analog clock. Once you tap into that, you can choose the clock style from amongst various available design options. As you can see, there are quite a few that you can cycle through and then choose the one that you like. You can then go ahead and even change the color with something that you like. I love the animation that Samsung has added here, by the way. I mean, just when you're changing colors in the way it applies. There are some gradient fills as well, so I'm just going to stick with this one. And then you can also apply a nice background to it from about 5 to 6 available options that are there. So I'm going to go with this one. It's not very visible here, but it's there. So, once you're in front of the phone, you'd know. So yeah, there you have it. I think it's a beautiful, gorgeous looking always-on display and something you could really flaunt off. The second thing you can personalize is the edge panel. The Galaxy S8 comes with a few installed and enabled on the edge, but you can go into settings and choose to enable more or disable a few of the available and pre-installed edge panels. You can also reorder the installed and enabled edge panels to appear in a particular order that you'd prefer. And you can also go into Galaxy App Store to download more edge panels for your Galaxy S8, like the way I did with this calculator. I think it's one of the most useful edge panels ever, and I don't have to be hunting for a calculator because this works off a lock screen as well. You've been probably hearing about the always-on display, but on the lock screen you have a widget area wherein you can add quite a few things. You just have to go into Settings, tap into Lock Screen and Security, and then look for Information and FaceWidgets. You can go into FaceWidgets and pretty much enable or disable things that you want access to on the lock screen itself. Music is definitely something that's good to have, considering you get quick access to music controls without unlocking your phone, and it works perfectly for when you're at parties or when you're driving. You can also leave a signature or some sort of contact information of yours that shows up onto the lock screen as well as on the always-on display. And as you can see on the lock screen now, your name basically I kept my name and I can see that over there on the always-on display as well as on the lock screen. And I can also see all of my widgets that I had enabled onto my settings screen. In the Galaxy S8 and almost all Android smartphones out there, you have one or more home screens with app shortcuts and widgets, and then you have a dedicated app drawer to list all apps. Now, if you see iOS or some very few Android smartphones out there, they have all apps on the home screen itself. So if you're a fan of that layout, you could actually go into home screen settings within the display settings, choose home screen layout, and then you could choose either of these. If you go into home screen only and apply, you will get the exact same output. That is, all the apps now come out onto the home screen and there is no app drawer. So all your apps are outside, just like you have it in the iOS system. But I like my widgets and shortcuts in one place and all my apps in the other. It's just a personal preference, so you're free to do what you like. Now the lock screen has two apps that are fixed, the phone dialer and the camera. These two shortcuts provide quick and easy access to those two apps because Samsung thinks that these are the two most frequently used apps. However, you could change these obviously. So you could go into Settings, Lock Screen and Security, and then look for App Shortcuts. And then you'd see that you have the option to change your left and right shortcut. Right, I'm just going to let the right shortcut as it is, and I'm just going to go into left shortcut, and I have the possibility of putting up any app over there. I use Instagram pretty often, so I choose Instagram, and then I just go back, lock my screen, turn it on, and there you have it, the Instagram icon on the bottom left. One of the things I tell each friend of mine who owns a Samsung phone is to register with Samsung to enable Find My Mobile option that you can find in the security settings. While you can do this with the Android device manager as well, but this is already built in a feature that's already there in the Samsung phones and it's pretty easy to set up. Just give the device the necessary permissions and you can pretty much locate where your phone is, back up the device, wipe the device, and Samsung Pay accounts as well. You can also ring your phone if you were just careless and couldn't find it. The last customization I want to talk about is the edge lighting. It's basically one of the coolest ways to receive a notification, or rather see a notification, and you'll see why. It doesn't work with all applications, but it does with most. Every time you get a notification, the edges of the phone light up beautifully. And let me just show it to you, and I took the a dark setting so that you could actually see that happen. So every time I receive a message, there you go, you see this nice little lighting that happens onto the edge. It looks wonderful. It also happens when your phone is locked. It just looks even better in the dark, and the only way I could have captured it on camera. But it looks amazing. So that's it, guys. These were just a couple of ways you could personalize your Samsung Galaxy S8 and really make it unique and more useful for yourself. Do let me know if you have a couple of tricks to make the S8 work better for you, and do leave a question in the comments section in case you have one. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.